Hi, my name is Claudia Estrada, and this is my discussion board for week 4. Some of the things I will be reviewing are how the fiscally solvent is the city of Colton, which is the city that I did choose. Um, some indicators that were used to assess the city's fiscal solvency, and how the city's budget differed from the information that was obtained um, in the city of Colton's ACFR. Um, so first, some indicators that were used to assess fiscal solvency were cash solvency, budgetary solvency, and long run solvency, as well as service level solvency. So, when it came to cash solvency, um, the city of Colton um, was very good at covering like short-term obligations that were measured by current ratio and unrestricted cash balances. When it came to budgetary solvency, some evidence that revenues were sufficient to cover expenditures that were shown to be positive net change in fund balances. And then when it came to the long run solvency, the capacity of the city to meet long term liabilities were evaluated through the ratio of total liabilities to total assets and the debt service coverage ratio. And then when it came to the service level solvency, the city's ability to maintain like existing service levels as assessed by stable or growing expenditures um, that were essential services like public safety or public works, um, and capital investments. Um, so the difference between the city budget and the ACFR for the city of Colton, some of the differences was that the city budget is a planning document that is outlined with proposed revenues, expenditures, and policy priorities for the upcoming fiscal year, which reflects some of the goals or some spending plans that they may have or anticipated sources of funding. But it relies mainly on just estimates and assumptions of things that can come up or um, goals that are put in place for the following year. In contrary to the ACFR that is backward looking, it's an audited document that reports the actual financial results for the prior year. So again, in the budget, it's for the following year. They're looking to what planning ahead to what can possibly, like, just assuming and going based off previous years, but it's not an accurate number, as contrast to the ACFR, which is auditing the previous year for the actual numbers that were used. So it's accurate because of the numbers. Um, it's not an assumption, and it includes like actual financial results. Um, and it is detailed because again, these are actual results, so they already have the results for like the balance sheet, the income statement, cash flows that came in, notes, um and then also the factual account of the city's financial condition after the year had ended. um While this budget guides like decision making and resource allocation, the ACFR holds the cities accountable for actual performance. So they're holding them accountable for what they usually plan for and what they actually went through with. in the budget planning one, right? So they compare them, like, hey, they planned for example, um, to use this much for public works or for um, fixing the streets, and this was what was planned to use, but this is what was actually used, right? So that's how they actually hold the city accountable for the actual performance of that budget that they planned. Um, and then some of those pictures that were below, sorry, it skipped forward, were just like of the ACFR for the most recent year. Um, but thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.